Good morning, everybody. My name is Justin Publon with WisconsinDebates.com. We're going to take you through the forecast for the next 7 days or so, talking about a few things, long range a little bit, and the snow melt and things like that. Plus, the storm that's coming up for tomorrow and the potential for storms in the future there. So here's the 7 day outlook, just showing it's kind of there's nothing really that pops out to me. The rain and snow chance for Monday, Tuesday is sort of like a placeholder. It's not really functional because we're trying to just shift things around to see what's exactly going to happen there. Looks like there could be a stormy pattern that's evolving here soon. But yeah, there's a chance for rain on Thursday. And temperatures kind of near average. When we go take a look at the Wisconsin Rapids temperature graph, you're going to see that dashed black line is the average temperature, and you're seeing that. Yeah, we're about 10 to 5 degrees above average here through Thursday. I see it hasn't updated yet. Well, it will. But yeah, we're above average now, but it seems like we're going to be settling back down a little bit. So when we look at this, so over the last few days now, a few videos ago, I did show you how the snow depth was going and what the snow water equivalent was. Here's what it looks like now. This is the snow depth map. And you're seeing kind of constrained to that area, which is, I don't know, kind of what I would expect this time of year. It's not showing the snow that fell this morning, which is about 1 to 3 inches in this area. But it did pick up this 1 to 3 over here. So anyways, that's sort of what the snow depth map looks like. So when you're talking about snow melt, it looks like for southern Wisconsin, it's mostly done with. And it's in the streams and it's shifting off. Obviously, you still have a load within it. But it's not going to be a terrible thing this year. It's not a big issue. Pretty typical, in my opinion. But we do have more rain coming in. Here is the NAM forecast. Now, before we talk too much in detail about the NAM forecast, I know that this model particularly for the event on Thursday, that's what we're talking about now, is a little bit more, it's not perfect. It's actually an outlier in some aspects, but I wanted to show you because I need that high resolution hour-by-hour view. So anyways, let's get into it. It's just showing you that here on, so this is during the day on Thursday at about 11 a.m. There! 11 a.m. And you're seeing that the storm is not actually, like, when you go back in time, it's not very together. It's actually not even there. And then it actually comes together across Wisconsin. So sometimes this doesn't always work out perfectly. And there's, like it's showing in this situation, it's showing the rain kind of in this area, but who knows? I mean, it could be here or here kind of thing. But the timing of it all is really important to the forecast. So for the members' forecast on WisconsinDebates.com, I kind of mentioned that the forecast confidence is low with this event. But either way, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think that when it's a low impact event like this, it's not a big deal. But that's sort of the detail that I'm operating on here today. And then, so yeah, but with this model, the issue that it seems to have is it's overdoing the amount of QPF across the northern Wisconsin and the temperature profile. And it's turning a lot of that snow, so a lot of that rain into snow, where the GFS and EC are not even on the same page. And so I would consider the NAM to be an outlier on that snow aspect of it. But anyways, here's, again, I was talking about kind of the issues with trying to get the precipitation nailed down. It looks like a band of about 0.4 to 0.7 inches of rainfall will occur somewhere across Wisconsin, but here's the European. It kind of shows it, across this area, generally within there. I think my map is more constrained to like this for the 4.7, or 0.4 to 0.7. And the GFS, we go take a look at that. High res, this value is too high, but the low res model is a little bit better. And has kind of the same area. So if you take a blend of the European, the GFS, and then the NAM, that southern QPF field on the NAM, generally it looks like probably through Green Bay, somewhere that axis in the vicinity of, but I'm not totally sure. Again, if it's doesn't come through right, we'll see. I think the short range models here, the ARW, NMMB, and the NSSL are having issues, and I don't know. I don't know, but I have to weigh that across all of the models and try to cover that variation. So when you go take a look at the map on our storm events forecast, you'll see that. Okay, now we're shifting off into more of a long range view, so we can get talking about later March and what's probably going to happen there. Now, a few weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, I can't even remember these days. The days all blend together, but we were talking about this situation, what we were doing, and that was the last update. We were saying, okay, we were here in 4, and we were likely to go up this way, and that's exactly what happened. Okay, so we went up here, and now in the last couple days, we've kind of gone this way. But we're kind of going around the clock like that, counterclockwise around the clock. And you can see, so, I mean, earlier predictions were actually more aggressive on taking this back into the neutral circle and around. The GFS might still be that way, but it's kind of interesting that it's gone up, around, and still somewhat of a stronger signal. So once it gets in within this circle, if you can see, it's very faint, but if you can see that within there, there's that little neutral circle. When it gets in there, the signal is not as strong. So basically, when it's outside of that, which it is right now, you're seeing symptoms of 5, or you're seeing probably symptoms of 6, and perhaps you'll even see them of 7. So 5 is actually a weird one where there's, for Wisconsin, or actually northern United States, where it looks like cold air tries to penetrate down into the United States temporarily, but 6 and 7 are alarm phases. So it's kind of interesting. But as I've mentioned several times here, it's not so much the MJO, the tropical signal, that's driving our weather. I think it's really the AO. And here we're taking a look at the Arctic Oscillation Index, which currently is here. It's at a peak now, but if you look at these peaks, most recent peaks here, so this is going like on an uptrend here, these peaks. And most recently, it looks like now we finally have a lower peak. Now, if you look at the forecast here, there's one member that goes way up here, but I would take the consensus sort of down like this at this point. Who knows? I think that probably not going here just yet, and we're probably not going up there. I think we're going down, but it might be a long process of getting towards neutral. So it's really timing that neutral. Basically, what that means to me is that the Arctic Oscillation, which was in very positive category here, very positive. Actually, February was like near record high. The value for the average AO for February was 3.14. You'd have to go all the way back to 1990, 1989 to have any sort of similarity there. It's really not seen recently. So that's a dominant factor in our weather pattern. As I've explained many times, it's when the Arctic Oscillation goes into a positive, strongly positive mode, the polar vortex kind of gets more constrained. It becomes very strong, and the weather pattern moves more west to east. When you have a negative AO, it's more latitudinal. I think that the storm patterns. How do I word this? The flow of the storms kind of move more poleward, so you have more up and down, more amplification. That's the word I was going for. Amplification of the pattern in a negative AO. So basically, but in between, based on research I've done recently, it seems like when you enter this phase in March, okay, not necessarily positive, maybe at times not necessarily negative, but right there in the middle, that seems to indicate a stormy pattern for the Great Lakes. And if we can get into that, I think for sure it will turn stormy, because it makes sense, right? I mean, if you're going from a very strong Arctic Oscillation, then you're unraveling, everything's falling apart. It's called like a vortex breakdown a little bit. Then you can get amplification within the pattern, and things get a little crazy for a while. That's my prediction, anyways. That's the way it seems to be going. And again, we had peaks here. They were up escalating peaks. Now it looks like we're going into de-escalation here. Okay. Here's just a look at the AO again. I covered more of this in the story for our members on the page, but you're going to see right here. Sorry. It's really hard to see. That's a 3.4, okay, for February of the winter year 2020. And if we go back through all the Februaries in recent history, all the way back to 2001, there's nothing on the same magnitude positive. Okay, so this is a big deal. This is a really big deal here. So when you're drawing, your forecast out for March and then into April, you're going to be looking pretty closely at 1990 and 1989. But I mean, you do have years here, 2019 that were kind of similar, like kind of on a positive end. But again, when you're dwelling in that near zero to +1 to -1 space, Sometimes the other factors come in, MJO, something going on with the El Nino, something going on with PNA or EPO or whatever. AMO, those might drive it then. So anyways, I think I made my point here about the AO is in a pretty interesting spot. And you can read more about that on our website. If you go to our homepage, you can see here's the story. Just click on that. If you remember, you get right in. Okay, here, let's take a look at the pattern now going through. This is going to be, I think I'll take it out to about maybe the 25th of March. Okay, so it's the 11th right now, so that's several days out, but we're going to start with the storm coming here through Thursday. See, there it is now. The GFS, again, does have these spots of snow up in the north. But I don't know how much that's going to work. I don't think that's going to amount to too much. I've kind of constrained the snowfall amounts to Upper Michigan for this next storm, but most of Wisconsin's rain, and that's sort of the narrative main talking headline point that I've gone with. So that's the Thursday storm, and that clears out with a cold front behind it, bringing temperatures back down to near average. You can see, tight pressure gradient in here. And then kind of these horizontal lines of thicknesses there, but there's basically saying that cold air has come down and in. But now we have storminess developing out in the west. And what I really should do for you is show the upper level pattern, which is really interesting actually. But here so this is for the storm on Thursday. You're seeing that here's a wave coming through, kind of the trough axis like that. And then you go through time, you're seeing a tendency towards the western trough again. This is what we've had for a tendency for all of winter. Still there, still chugging away. And then kind of maybe escalating a little bit as we go towards a later period. So closer to March 17th now, it's actually getting a stronger western trough. And actually, this looks like it's getting a little cut off on this model run, but that ejects out. And so all these details in here are very much prone to change. We're at 300 hours out. But anyways, the point is that it looks like we're going to have some sort of system eject out of the southwest probably in March. And it's really coming down to how amplified the pattern can get coming off this positive AO situation. But yeah, so on older, it seems like also when you're looking at the 18Z and the 0Z GFS, they're sort of different from the 12Z and the 00Z. So basically my point is that these model initiation times, they seem to have different bugs with them. But anyways, kind of getting into the weeds here a little bit, but let's go back to this, and you see that this storm is interesting here for March 14th as we head into the 15th. You're seeing it looks like it's going to do something big out there, and then when it gets to Wisconsin out here, it just kind of falls apart. It doesn't really come together. I mean, it's sort of sad to me. It's like, man, this looks like it's going to be a big storm, and then boom, nothing. But as we go through time, yes, maybe some energy does work out. And as that western trough is sitting out there, it's going to keep sending energy through. But really, this is an opportunity to do something big here for the weather pattern. And it may happen. Maybe this is just an off run for the GFS. If you look at the ensembles, there's definitely some fireworks going on. Definitely some fireworks going on in that March 18th to March 25th timeframe. So we really have to keep an eye on that. That's what I'm paying attention most to. But yeah, so that's what I'm seeing right now. Let's see, I have a few other things open here. Yeah, that's that. So anyways, that's my update for today. Again, I'm really anxious to get going on some stormy action. Like we need some storms, man. And these little 1 to 2 inch events here are not enough for me. So anyways, but I'll keep you updated. Go check the story out on the website, and I will talk to you very soon.